Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's pretty wild how a single piece of fiction has introduced me to all these things like Warhammer, FDM printing, and I was just thinking about that this week. It's totally hijacked my hobby brain. So I've been listening to Stormcaller by Chris Raitt, the sheer badassery of the Space Wolves spiritual leaders. Completely that's what I'm about right now. It was the Wolfen last week, the Wolfen, and now it's the spiritual leaders. So I knew that my next print had to be a Wolf Priest proxy that was going to lead a group in my 2,000 point army. In today's video, we're going to be doing a complete studio build from start to finish. I'm going to show you how I custom kitbash this hero digitally, the exact slicing workflow that I use to get this absolute best quality that I can out of my FDM machine, and even a wild heat gun hack that completely changed the way I will assemble miniatures, and maybe you too. And also, unfortunately, a massive hardware roadblock that has, for the short term, derailed my completion of this project, the 2,000 point army. But we'll worry about that later. The best part of this hobby, though, is that I didn't have to drop a ton of cash on a single generic plastic character. I just hopped into my digital studio, my workflow, and I budget kitbashed my way into this completely unique, completely custom hero model, printed entirely on FDM machine, printed at my classic 0.06 layer height on the Budget K1 SE. Now, if you're looking for the exact technical details of how I get my FDM prints looking the way they do, please check out my previous two videos. It's included in the playlist that this video is in, where I talk more deep dive into my calibrations and the workflow. Also, make sure you keep a close eye for our private Discord server that's going to be launching very soon. It's going to be just a spot where we can get together, show our FDM prints off, troubleshoot failures together, issues that happen. We didn't get into this hobby because it was easy. We got into this hobby because we thought it would be easy, but also just a place where you could show off your cool painting projects and just chit chat all things 3D printing, even resin printing with the community. In my last video, we talked extensively about the Canis Helix curse. So that's the genetic curse that's embedded deep within the Lehman Russ gene seed. Every space wolf has that. If a battle brother loses control, that curse mutates them and turns them into that feral wolfen. And this is the exact reason why the wolf priest exists. So they play a dual role in the chapter, acting both as the spiritual chaplains and also the medical apothecaries. And in Chris Wright's Stormcaller, the one that I'm reading right now, you see this play out. A wolf priest is specifically tasked with leading a pack of wild, undisciplined blood claws. Now, the blood claws, they're young, they're reckless, and they have this incredible, vibrating, aggressive energy, and making them, of course, because of that, the most vulnerable to succumbing to the Canis Helix mid-combat. So the wolf priest's job in the battlefield, is to be like the anchor. He's not just there to smash enemies with the CoreXY Arcanum. He stands in front of the pack, and he uses his presence to discipline the young wolves, kind of keep them in check, and harness their ferocity into a weapon and pull them back whenever they're on the edge of that absolute genetic madness. For this build, I leaned heavily into the Lychee slicer. One of the reasons why I love the software so much is because it effortlessly lets me assemble separate objects just by clicking and dragging them together in the 3D space. So it lets me combine these kitbashed parts before I send them to the printer. And that is important because it lets me do some scaling, lets me see how they line up. It even lets me move them around to see how I'm going to have that final pose. And it's super easy. I actually had two instances where I relied on the scaling once I assembled the pieces in Lychee Slicer. The first one was the CoreXY Arcanum, the mace that I'm using to represent that weapon. It's the iconic wolf-headed mace that the priest uses. And it originally was way too large. So I scaled it down, and I kept scaling it down, and I landed at 80%. And that way it looked natural right in his hands. And on the flip side, the head that I had was small. And I decided to boost that up to 110% just to give him a more classic, imposing wolf priest leader silhouette. Another pro tip about Lychee Slicer is that I always save my projects as .lys files I don't save them as STLs or 3MFs. I'll export them if I need to or when it's ready for that. But having the .lys always allows me to go back and make adjustments on the fly. If I send a print in and there's a failure somewhere, I don't have to reapply my supports or anything like that. I could go in there and apply single supports or remove supports, and it's like super easy to do for my workflow. Now, to be completely transparent with you all, the team over at Lychee actually recently reached out to the channel, which I was shocked. I was honestly shocked. So I've been paying for my own pro account out of pocket, as I've been mentioning, and they are in the process actually of upgrading my account to the library version. So I wanted to keep it 100% real with you guys and let you know whenever a brand reaches out. It's not happened yet. However, this hints at some pretty awesome, deeper workflow that we're going to be able to do in future videos. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Now, before we talk about the big secret weapon in this video, let's talk about the support removal. I know that's a common question every single video. So when I first started 3D printing, I used to sit there with the hobby knife for hours with a little mini sander, chipping away at the plastic, risking a finger. I don't do that anymore. With auto-generated resin-style supports that I've been running with Lychee, and with properly orientating my models, you can hide almost all the support scarring. So the idea is to place your supports underneath parts that the human eye won't see from the tabletop, or even when it's on a shelf somewhere. And in this guy's case, I knew ahead of time that his massive cape would cover any scarring on his back. So my supports are going to be hitting anyways. And so when you plan your prints with the final assembly in mind like this, then the supports, not only do they come off beautifully, but you'll also minimize the scarring that you see. Now, problem that I ran into first was when everything was glued together, the printed cape was flaring out like too rigidly. It looked like super unnatural. And so I tried something that I've been thinking about for a long time. And I grabbed my standard hobby heat gun. After assembly, I gently heated the printed cape while it was already glued to the miniature. And as the plastic softened and became a little bit pliable, I would push the cape into the back of the Wolf Priest proxy and go back in there and heat it again. And little by little, I was able to make it go flush up against the back. And look at the results. It completely transformed this model. Instead of like this stiff piece of plastic, the cape now looks incredible. It looks heavy, organic, realistic. It's literally hugging the armor of the Wolf Priest proxy. An absolute game changer for FDM miniatures. Eat your heart out, resin purist. Now, I was able to prime this miniature here. And I know that's another question that always gets asked. So I primed the miniature, and last week I mentioned that my Osair cheap little Amazon compressor was like choking out, sputtering, even with water. So I ran it to the ground today, and I was able to start it primering it, and then the rest I had to finish off by just with a paintbrush, and it still went on there. But it's like, I think it's on its last legs, and it's gonna kind of slow me down in wanting to paint these 22 miniatures that I have sitting around. I'm starting to gradually have a short pile of shame. So the painting phase is going to be delayed a little bit until I could get a replacement for that. And I think I'm actually looking for like an actual, heavy duty, real air compressor, or at least a higher quality tankless compressor. So stay tuned for that. I couldn't be happier with how this Kitbash turned out. The heat gun hack absolutely will be put in my back pocket for all prints in the future. I'm just thinking about slowly adjusting poses, arms, turning legs and kind of moving them a little bit around. I think that part right there, adding that into your arsenal of 3D printing with obviously PLA and FDM, it's very manageable. And you're able to really, really truly design how you want your poses to come out, how you want your FDM prints to come out. Let me know in the comments what you think about the scaling trick there, using that in OrcaSlicer. And let me know how you manage your hobby safely in your own home. Huge, guys, huge shout out to the community for pushing past, I believe as of this video, we are at 4,400. It's probably going to be a little bit higher. And I'm just grateful for all that. Guys, keep printing, keep hobbying, and I'll see you guys in the next one.